Welcome back to the TNR podcast. I'm joined now by our latest USG exec leaders, Zohar Siddiqui and Wilani Alasea. You guys were recently reelected just before spring break. Thank you all for joining us and talking about what you guys have got going on next year.
Yeah.
Of course.
Thank you for having us.
So we're about a week and a half left of the semester, finals week in view. I don't know, to kind of start off, if you could maybe summarize your mental state in one word as far as, as the semester's ending, how are things going?
Chaotic, I think would be the one word that I would use. How about you, Wilani?
I think I would use a similar word, maybe weight lifted off back in one word.
Okay. There's a little fires. I feel like everybody's got kind of running around little things to put out, but also long-term stuff to deal with finals. So
Yeah.
There's hope, I think. Yeah, as things are
Definitely.
End is in sight. Well, like I said, you won again. Obviously, you won the Friday before spring break. You were inaugurated on March 25th. Congratulations once again.
Yeah, thank you.
And your campaign, I think, really enjoyed kind of a broad base of support from a lot of different student orgs and kind of bodies on campus. If you could maybe talk about, I guess, in the first place, the message of your campaign, really, in kind of broad terms, and how do you feel that connected with students, and why did they respond so well to that, do you think?
Yeah, I think that throughout our campaign, we had a lot of involved students, but also not a lot of, we were trying to really target students that weren't so involved, especially since the majority of campus is those students that might just come to class and then go home at the end of the day, and they just want to make sure that their student experience is the best that it can be. So I guess the message of our campaign is making campus lively and accessible and inclusive to not just all the students that are involved, but also the students that might not be as involved and might just want to go get an education.
Yeah,
and I guess I'll add to that really quickly is kind of the platform that we had was the game plan, right? And GAME was an acronym for game day experience, activities, events, and outreach, mental health and wellness, and then equal opportunity and access. And I think really the goal with that was to target different areas of campus. I think at times, this was actually a video that we had as well on our campaign, but sometimes student government needs to be serious and sometimes it doesn't need to be. And I think when it comes to things like our game day experience, that's something that affects lots of students who aren't inclined to get involved in campus organizations, but also just want to have that Bearcat spirit when they go to games and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then there are more serious topics, like when it comes to equal opportunity access or mental health and wellness, or even some of the activities and events that we hope to have might be geared towards more serious topics. So I think at the end of the day, you want to have a balance of both.
Right.
And I think that's the best way that you represent the whole student body.
Wow. So that balance also for representation, but also just this idea of bringing everybody in.
Exactly.
And getting behind this is our campus. We're here to advocate for you and kind of be your voice.
Yeah,
Exactly.
precisely.
Well, what was that, as far as, I know we've got a summer in between all this, but as far as what that looks like in policy and sort of specific initiatives you all are thinking about, if you maybe wanted to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so the summer is actually the perfect time that we have to get those initiatives kickstarted. We usually work with administration to see which of our initiatives are truly feasible and which ones take a little bit more time. So as far as I think the first thing that will probably be kickstarting is that before the Roar event. So that's something that we're pretty excited about, just to teach students about the new traditions, or not new traditions, but ongoing traditions that we have here on campus, and extending that Bearcat spirit. Something else that we've really been passionate about is mental health and wellness. So making sure that our students that are currently graduating have access to mental health resources post-graduation and are also prepared for the life that comes after college, as I'm sure that all of us have a worry that we...
It's a concern. And I understand student affairs, that's kind of been a theme with what they've been doing too, student wellness. I'm assuming, are you all kind of in a partnership with that as far as emphasizing that next year? And how, so I understand that's, I'm sure there's a lot to that, but as far as specific portions of that or how that might look like, what could students expect? When they say wellness, how is that emphasized?
Yeah, I mean, I think that wellness just really comes with making sure that students can be as successful as they need to be, making sure that those resources that are there for them are being utilized, and that every student is educated on the resources that are available. I think that wellness is something that in collaboration with student affairs, we've been really trying to target. So making sure that our students are reaching out for help and we're reducing that stigma around reaching out when you need help, because a lot of students do suffer in silence. So making sure that we are being proactive and not just reactive in terms of those things.
Yeah, and I'll touch on a little bit. Obviously, we have a lot of specific initiatives that we want to have. And at the end of the day, some of them might be feasible, some of them are not. And so figuring that out right now, but something that I'll touch on in terms of specifics that I'm really want to push for is having some sort of access to the resources that we provide on campus for mental health and wellness 1 year post graduation. Because I think that transition, that Welani talked about, that all of us worry about once you graduate is difficult for sure. You go from being on campus, seeing people every day, to maybe moving to a new city or working home from remotely where you're kind of isolated. So having some sort of access to those resources, whether that's investigating whether or not we can subsidize gym memberships, with a local gym that might be into the idea of housing those students, that also focus on physical well-being, because that definitely contributes. And then at the same time, just opening access to care that we already provide, whether that's working with CAPS to see if there's any feasibility, or if I know they're very busy people, seeing if they have any room in their schedule to support students who just graduated.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the sense really being just to make sure we got the backs of people who are obviously our graduates. There's like this great unknown in a sense. It's not like a complete unknown, but there's it's a next step, and making sure that step can be taken with confidence. I think that's really
because the idea is to kind of plant the seed early. I think that's something that I kind of hopefully live by in lots of different areas, and it starts from that transition. Preparing for that transition starts in your first year of college, whether you realize it or not.
Yeah.
So making sure that they have the knowledge of how to face things when they come their way, and helping them prepare for that in their first year, not just when they're on their way out, is something that we hope we can provide for students.
Yeah, I think that that's a really good point, especially touching on that first year. I think that a lot of our platform focuses on from when you first get to college towards the end of graduation, when you're thinking about that transition period. So it really just starts with that first week, that convocation, and then moving on to commencement. What do you do after commencement, and how do we make sure that we're proactive and preparing our students to see what really life has to come?
Oh, that's really cool. And I totally, to kind of jump to another thing that you were talking about, I totally agree. Though I'm not a crazy game day fan myself, but that does seem to be one of the more ubiquitous aspects of campus life. I mean, everyone goes to the football games. So what is that in terms of kind of prioritizing the game day experience? What does that look like as far as next year and what you all want to do?
Well, Lonnie touched on Before the Roar, which is kind of an idea that is supposed to increase the Bearcat spirit that we have going on. I think it's hard to, and this is again goes back to that plant the seed thing. It'd be something that we would do after convocation, or somewhere around that, still figuring it out. But first year is giving them the opportunity to learn some of our UC history, learn some of the chants that we do, the traditions that we have. That will hopefully play in to game day experience, so that when you get to it, you know what we're chanting and things like that, so you don't feel like an outsider. But also something else that I think is equally as important, if not more, is things like hydration stations, at these football games, especially when it's a hot day out, and students are consuming things that may dehydrate them, right?
Right.
You don't want to go pay for, a $12 water bottle or whatever the heck is going on. So instead, making sure that we're having, free resources for students to be able to stay hydrated, make sure that they're doing okay, not passing out, things like that, but also enjoying the game.
So really, like kind of practical quality of life aspects of the experience.
Exactly. Melania, do you want to touch on kind of the rewards and things like that?
Yeah, so another thing that we've been really harping on is making sure that our women's athletic games have a higher attendance rate. We think that our women's like athletics do a really great job, and they're really great athletes, and making sure that we're highlighting them and that students are attending the games is something that we've been really trying to push. So one thing that Zohar and I came up with was full court Bearcats, and this would be for students to attend a number of games, whether it's just 1 month. We have you guys attend like 5 out of the 9 games. You can register through the Ruckus app, and then from there, you would get like special edition rewards or like a T-shirt or something of that sort. Yeah.
I'll give you one last like kind of, I guess, insider information kind of thing. You asked a little bit how it's going so far. I said it's chaotic, and so actually this morning we had a meeting with the head coach of women's lacrosse and as well as one of our facilities management people. So trying to see the feasibility of actually opening up Nippert West Pavilion during a game and serving food for students to be able to use their meal swipes there and then be able to watch the game at the same time. So that's an example of hopefully game day experience, things that we're talking about. No promises, those are things that are still in the works, but obviously, just to give you an idea in the sense of what what's actually being talked about, especially during this time, because I've learned very quickly that, this is planning for next year. Already that's the framework starts. So
wow. And that's really, it seems like you guys have kind of a detailed framework, at least as far as, with so many months ahead. That's really exciting.
That's the hope.
To piggyback off again, just going back to, I think the chaotic aspect of our current moment, wellness during finals week, during the end of the semester, I think is certainly a topic of conversation. How everybody kind of does it differently. Everybody has their own kind of go-to strategies, but how are you guys kind of keeping watch over your mental health and managing just as far as everything coming to a head in the next couple of weeks?
Honestly, I think that taking breaks and knowing how to be proactive about what all you're getting done. I've really been trying to focus on the last few weeks on my schoolwork and also just making sure that I'm also attending my meetings and stuff like that too. But also taking breaks to have fun. And yesterday I went to the baseball game against Xavier, and that was really fun. Seeing the Bearcats play and the crosstown showdown is something that I usually always look forward to with every sport. But just making sure that I know when to take breaks, when I should be having fun, and when I can just be a normal student as well.
Yeah, I think for me, it's all about finding the balance between routine and spontaneity. I think there are things that I have to get done. I study both medical sciences and business economics. I'd like to think that my classes are, well, I don't like to think about it, but my classes are quite difficult. So making sure that I'm staying on top of those things while also planning breaks. So I live pretty religiously by Google Calendar, trying to make my transition over to Outlook Calendar. We've talked about that before. But I build in my breaks. I build in my time with friends, or just time that this is a time where I have a free block where I can do anything that I want and have some spontaneity, but also making sure that I'm getting things done. And for me, preparing for finals week means preparing now. And so that means just staying on top of things, making sure that you're attending your meetings, hopefully your classes. It's definitely not something that like you want to let pile up. And so by being so afraid of that stuff piling up, I have the motivation, or I can find the motivation to start now.
And also like getting to things early. Like I'm a very big proponent of just like if I see something pop up on my Canvas, or like I've really been looking at the syllabus lately and like putting it on my calendar because that's something that I need to remind myself of. So making sure that I'm getting to things early so that when it comes time to it, I'm like, okay, I already have this done, or I can work on this early so that I can get to another thing a little bit later.
I'm sure you guys, I'm like preaching to the choir here, but I think for me anyway, there's a danger of kind of these long-term projects or papers or things like that, whether it's studying for a final or something, but then there's like these little fires that come up, like if it's an email or just or kind of coordinating things just in like the day-to-day kind of deadline thing, certainly with TNR, I'd say. But yeah, so like figuring out, how to respond to the spontaneity, I think is certainly, for me anyway, an issue. I think that, and again, just to avoid that pile up, as long as I'm mentally anyway, just saying, okay, there's 30 minutes, there's all these little things to do, but I'm just going to take 30 minutes on this kind of long-term, something that's going to take up a lot of time. And just kind of really I think typically that's about as long as it takes just to kind of make a good contribution to something before dealing with kind of the more immediate things. But well, I mean, in theory that'll work out, I think, for the next few weeks. But yeah,
Exactly.
Good. We recently, you might have seen it, but our Best of UC issue, we've been, we tabled that a little bit. It's kind of been in our little receptacles around campus. This is one of my favorite ones. I think this is definitely one that we're going to keep doing each year, just as far as just students really playing into their kind of what they think and what they feel are kind of the more meaningful aspects around campus. So in the spirit of that, I'm going to ask you a few questions just about UC and
Awesome.
what's your stuff like that.
Love that.
I understand. I mean, each of us, I think, has a pretty spends a decent amount of time in an office answering calls and emails and things like that. Outside of kind of your designated space, where are you most often found on campus? What's your favorite spot, whether for studying or just for kind of hanging out?
I've honestly been hanging out a lot in the student government office.
Yeah.
I think that there's a bunch of new people that are coming in there, especially following a few of the offices being moved to our floor. So I've been really making a lot of connections and relationships with our neighbors on that floor. So I've been hanging out in the plethora of office in Steger floor 600. I've also really been enjoying going to TUC as well as Clifton Court Hall. I think that there's usually a lot of people there and I like to mingle around.
Yeah. In general, for me, I love coffee shops. So this is off campus, but I like exploring the different Cincinnati coffee shops. I actually have an account for it that I've curated all my posts, but I haven't started putting out my content yet. But that's always something big for me. So obviously there's the 86 on campus if you want that coffee shop feel. I love though, kind of like a hidden gem is the CCM library.
Yes.
They have these really big ceilings, very high ceilings.
Best reading room in campus.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's awesome. So especially during that finals week time, I like it. And it's also, you'll see a few people and you're probably going through the shared struggle of working through schoolwork, and there's something communal about that I appreciate. So
I totally get that. You need those almost designated lock-in spaces.
I think.
It's funny you mentioned actually the attic of CCM Library. There's a little, if you go through the reading room, there's an upper level with a bunch of carrels and a window that kind of overlooks campus, which is a nice. That's where I tend to go.
Yeah, you're more of an expert than me.
Well, maybe a little. Sorry, this is an exciting subject. And underneath that, Blagan is just an incredible, beautiful. But in the classics library, there's this sort of underground stacks, multi-level, underground, dark academia kind of area that's in their stacks. So as far as people looking for kind of study spots towards the end of the semester, I definitely recommend those. But
that's perfect.
I was actually, you kind of stole my answer.
Oh,
to be honest. No, that's great. I love it. It's definitely a hidden gem for sure. Yeah.
One spot I miss for sure is the Crosley Conversation Pit. That was my spot, and I used to take all my students there on the last day of class, and now I'm like, dang, where am I supposed to take my students when there's no more Crosley Conversation Pit?
I never stepped foot in Crosley. It's kind of, I really missed out. I know. Here. And now it's just, it's slowly, just coming down.
But appreciate from afar.
I know. It lives on. I will say, I don't know if you guys have seen the Crosley. The social media page. They've been, I mean, I was initially jealous just because I've kind of been trumpeting, us doing a satire column for a while, but they've been kicking it out of the park. So
they've been doing well.
Maybe do a quick follow to the Crossley. It's kind of like the Onion, but they do a lot of funny stuff.
Very good fake news headlines.
They say they're the most trusted news on campus, but
of course,
contentious a little bit, but well, cool. Just for a fun one, this was some of our staff submitted this. We're just gonna do a quick this or that as far as favorite places to eat on campus.
Awesome.
We can talk about our individual favorites, but just really quickly, this might get a sense for where you guys are at. Toppers or Adriatico's?
Adriatico's. Ooh.
Oh, okay.
Adriatico's for me.
Okay. Adriatico's or Drunken Bento?
Drunken
Bento.
Okay. Drunken Bento or Cincy Deli?
Cincy Deli,
Cincy Deli or Skyline?
Cincy Deli.
Skyline.
Cincy Deli has my heart.
I do love Cincy Deli.
Skyline or Bibi Bop?
Skyline, yeah.
Okay, Bibi Bop, or excuse me, Skyline or Shake Shack?
Skyline.
Skyline or Cane's?
Skyline, yeah.
Skyline or Halal Shack?
Halal Shack.
Skyline.
I love Halal Shack.
Okay. Halal Shack or Cincy Grill?
Halal Shack.
Halal Shack.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. All right. Yeah. I guess with two people, it was hard to get a winner.
Yeah.
So
I guess Halal Shack with the asterisks of Zohair would pick Cincy Deli.
Okay.
Right.
That would be my ultimate
gotcha,
winner.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Right.
How about you, Joe?
Well, I went to Cincinnati Deli for the first time just a week
Really?
ago. I got their shawarma. It was like life changing.
Exactly.
I gotta
Life-changing.
say, it was.
Life-changing.
It lived up to the. Yeah, I'm kind of like a cantankerous person when it comes to like, because we tend to get like repeat winners for this. So like Adriatico's always wins the pizza. I'm just like, I mean, it depends. Since Deli's won a couple times, it's worth the hype. So
Definitely.
I can definitely say
Definitely.
that for sure. This is again just great, lots of exciting stuff for next year. It's great to speak with you guys today. Anything as far as just anything you want to tell the student body, whether it's about finals or about over the summer, or just what's going on next year?
Come visit our office, Stager 655. The door is always open, usually, unless I have to unlock it. But it will most likely always be open. My office is always open, and Zohair and I will always be welcome to talking to new students in there. And if you guys need anything, don't be afraid to reach out. If you guys need resources or just need someone to talk to, our calendars are always open. Or if you just want to pop by and have someone to chat to, we're always there to yap your ears off for sure.
Yeah, I'll kind of echo what Wilani said. At the end of the day, the student body positions of student government are meant to be roles of advocacy, and the best way that we can advocate for our students is when they tell us themselves, what the issues are that are going on campus. Obviously, we have our tidbits of information that we hear from some sources, but the best thing that we can have is have the student body come to us and tell us what they want to see change. So on that note, please, use the bookings that we have. We have bookings pages. We want students to take advantage of those. Meet with us, talk to us, have fun with us, laugh with us. That's really the hopefully the role of student government is to have fun and but also be serious. So and advocate on your behalf. So that's pretty much the message. Message that I'd have to the student body.
Well, Lonnie and Zohair, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Joe.
This was
Thanks.
awesome.